Really quickly for this 4,000 point battle, we have a Craftworld Eldar Warhost, which is made up of a Guardian Defender formation, Crimson Death, 2 Wraith Constructs, an Aspect Warrior host, and a Seer Council. And then we also have a Path of Heroes Harlequin formation attached to it. And that's pretty much my 4,000 points. As you can guess, the Aspect Warhost has +1 ballistic skill. So the Warp Spiders, Dark Reapers, and Dire Avengers are all BS5.
2 Demi-Companies, one led by a captain, the other led by a chaplain with jump pack, a Stormwing, so Storm Raven and 2 Storm Talons, and a Vindicator Squadron. And our libraries.
Here we are at the initial setup. The Eldar have not entirely castled, but somewhat. Meanwhile, the Ultramarines are set to move forward and wreak some havoc. And do you want to roll for stealing the initiative?
Little black one.
Oh. Nope.
That was a drop.
Yeah, that was a drop.
Nah.
No! Thank God. Okay, let's do this. As we can see at the end of the opening movement phase, the Eldar have rushed forward because the Ultramarines did not steal the initiative, and we'll see how this goes. After the psychic phase, the Eldar have managed to kill off 5 Assault Marines using Eldritch Storm. 4 Assault Marines using Eldritch Storm. And that's it so far. Otherwise, it was pretty much just defensive stuff that got through. Fortune and Doom and some of the golden oldie stuff. End of the shooting phase. The Night Spinner managed to finish off a tank that the D-cannons and other assorted shooting couldn't do. The assault squad is down to just 1 guy who's passed every leadership test he's needed to make. The Vindicator that has suffered 1 hull point there has actually lost its cannon. Because I rolled a weapon destroyed on it, and that's pretty much everything that I've done. So on to really quickly here, Andrew's units have started to arrive. We've got 2 Centurion Grav units and another unit with a bunch of Grav in it, and everything else has kind of moved forward here. We'll see how his psychic phase and shooting go.
Recap of turn 1. Psychic phase, just sort of tried to boost my units, sort of took out a few of Dan's rangers. To drop putting in, Grav, only 1 Grav gun failed to do anything to the Night Spinner. Over this side, the tactical squads, after getting mauled by the Wraith Knight and immobilizing and destroying 2 of them, it sort of stalled, but slowly moving up. Assault squad has done nothing. Command squad just rolling up the middle. 2 Vindicator shots. Hit and wounded 9 times on the Seer Council. Failed to kill any of them, thanks to Fortune and Conceal. 1 bonus. The Wraith Knight is gone, thanks to Centurions that are awesome. Oh, the light goes a bit bad. And after countless shots at the rear of 2 Wave Serpents, they're still there. That's it.
Movement phase for turn 2, the Crimson Death Squad has arrived, though no flyers for them to take on, so this ought to be interesting. And otherwise, I'm responding to the Centurions before they completely obliterate what's left of my army, considering they took out my Wraith Knight, which I honestly expected, but it's still sad when it happens, because that's what they do, and now I'm going to punish them for it. So let's see how this goes. At the end of the second shooting phase, another Vindicator has lost its cannon, so 2 of them are wounded, 1 is perfectly fine, and that's the only one that still has a gun. 1 of the Librarians in the rear was gunned down by the Warwalkers that just showed up. And on this side, we popped a Rhino, tactical squad poured out, and when they did, the Dark Reaper Exarch removed them from the table with extreme prejudice. Down here, the Night Spinner ran a horrible toll on the Space Marines down here, taking out 4 members of the unit. And then you'll notice that the Centurions have been very much thinned out because one unit was just obliterated by D-cannons, the other took a ton of shuriken fire, and if I'm lucky, they'll get charged by that Solitaire in just a moment. Solitaire made it in. See what happens. I guess the Solitaire managed to wipe out the Librarian and the wounded Centurion, taking down the squad with 3 AP2 wounds, and then had like 4 others on top of it. So probably the best rolling I've ever done for the Solitaire. Second wave of Marines have landed. So let's see how this goes as they reposition and reinforce their lines.
Start of turn 2, Ultramarine turn 2. Rest of my drop pods have come in. Tactical squad moving up. Into the heart of Dan's army, I've got a tactical squad in there and an assault squad in there. 2 Storm Talons moving up, going to try and deal with Wave Serpent and maybe some of his flyers. In the psychic phase, just 2 Librarians left. Did manage to get 1 power off, but nothing really. Tried to psychic shriek Eldrad and took a wound in the process. And Storm Raven moving up. That was all. Okay, end of Ultramarine turn 2. A very good second turn. War Walkers have been destroyed. 1 Crimson Hunter destroyed. Big Guardian squad, not exactly a huge win, but destroyed. Dire Avengers taking a good dent. The Exarch and half the squad.
They passed.
And over the other side, got my Marines in combat, took 2 hull points off the Night Spinner. Destroyed the Shuriken Cannon. And then that Crimson Hunter has jinked.
Alright, at the halfway point through turn 3, the Eldar turn decidedly focused on the Space Marine infantry. Unit here was all but destroyed with 1 person running away, and these 2 guys still remain completely untouched. I attempted to charge them, lost a model, and then couldn't make the charge because of it. And that's Wall of Flame for you. The Warp Spiders and Guardians punched this unit down to 2 models. They do still have a Flamer left, though. The Wave Serpent here took out the last of the Vindicators, stripping away what was left of their hull points. And between 2 Wave Serpents, a unit of Rangers, and a Solitaire, this unit still has 3 Marines in it. Yeah, the most impressive unit was the D-Cannons, which took out a drop pod and a squad of basic Marines, with the exception of 1 model that got finished off by the Dire Avengers. With the exception of the Seer Council embarrassingly failing that charge, otherwise everything has been pretty good. Took out the last of his psychic powers altogether, so that was another good point for me.
Space Marine turn 3. Turned it around a little bit. These 3 Marines just killed 4 or 5 Guardian and made them run away. My commander and his unit decimated the Warp Spiders. Made them run away a bit. Terminators gone in, got rid of the Rangers, 1 left falling back, and I've managed to get the Solitaire down to 1 wound, and the D-Cannons are running away.
Here we are in the middle of turn 4. Things are not going well for the Ultramarines. Focusing on killing their infantry has been really rough on them. As a highlight for Andrew this turn, though, his Terminators were able to shrug off something about like 20 wounds, most of which were AP2. He just could not fail either a 2-up or a 3-up. It's pretty impressive. And other than that, in my assault phase, he did manage to kill a Guardian with that lone standing tactical Marine, forcing them to run but not catching them. And those were the highlights for him. He lost his command squad to just shooting from the warp spiders and one wound caused by vortex during the psychic phase. He just had really bad saves there. So where the Terminators were amazing, the command squad was less so. Yeah. And here you can see the two squads that had just a few guys left there. They're gone. The Guardians here rallied. The weapon team rallied. The Lone Ranger, who's running away, did not rally. The Solitaire, in a very impressive move, blitzed this turn. He was already at one wound and got into combat with the Terminators and managed to kill 3 of them. And in return, they only hit him once and failed to wound. So he put on a rather impressive display. The Wraith Fighter, however, was completely unimpressive. Even though it did land quite a few hits on the Terminators, they made all their saves. They just didn't care. And even when it Psychic Shrieked them, couldn't roll high enough to actually cause that many wounds. And the wounds it did cause, they once again shrugged off. So he doesn't have much left, and we'll see how this goes. On to turn 4 for the Ultras.
End of Ultramarine turn 4. One little Ultramarine there. That's it.
What's your post-game wrap-up?
My dice suck. No, all points to Dan. I thought I had this one. I thought it. And yeah, just, I don't know, if turn 1 went well, turn 2, and then turn 3 just plummeted. But no, Vindicator Squadron, not awesome. Too easy to shut down. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Unit of the match.
Unit of the match. Jeez. I don't think I had one. I had nothing that really did what it was supposed to do.
Well, I think your Storm Raven did.
Oh, yeah. Turn on. Probably the Storm Raven. Yeah. Turned on, killed the Crimson Hunter, and died.
Delivered the Terminators.
And delivered the Hammonators. Yes. Oh. It's hard to think good thoughts when the dice give up on you. The dice gods. I will beat you. I will. Oh, no.
Okay, so I pulled that one out. I was actually really, really worried on second half of turn 2 when your Air Force arrived. Because that's when I really felt like things were starting to collapse for me. Especially since you had the jump on the Crimson Death formation, and I was expecting really big things, and they just kind of almost evaporated really quickly. So I didn't have one of the second powers I was hoping for, which was the Scryer's Gaze, which would allow me to kind of goof around with the rolls a little bit and maybe hold them back until your stuff arrived. Didn't get that. The Wraith Fighter, wasn't really impressed with it this game because it arrived so late, and then when it did arrive, it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The unit of the match probably is a tie for me between the D cannons, which were magnificent as usual, with psychic support though.
Yeah.
And then the Solitaire, which actually didn't get any support, but he finished off a good portion of a couple of different squads, taking out the remnants of a Centurion squad, the bulk of the remnants of a tactical squad, and 4 out of 5 Hammonators. He probably would have killed the last one in the next turn.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah, so I was really, really happy with how he performed. I did my best rolling I've done with him on the assault, so he was pretty impressive. The Seer Council was meh, especially considering how many points it was. Eldritch Storm is always really cool, but I don't know. Overall, they didn't completely dominate the game, which they've had a habit of in the past.
I mean, Eldritch Storm was only responsible for about 400 points being deleted from my army.
That's true, that's true. But when you consider that the D cannons were responsible for probably about 1,200 points, it kind of pales in comparison, especially considering they were like, I don't know, 300 points, including the Farseer that backed them up, whereas the other unit's like 800.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was terrifying having all those drop pods fall down while he's got this really mobile force. Early game, I just focused on his transports to get all those guys out in the field, and then after that, I just went after his infantry. I kind of ignored the drop pods through most of the game to focus on killing off his objective-secured, tactical, re-rolling Marines everywhere.
And you did very well.
So, until next time.
Jeez, well, that dice is going in the bin. I just dropped it and got a 1.